Warriors, and welcome to the brand new Tracking the Thrills. I'm, of course, Andrew Barczyk, joined by my co-host, Danny Miller, and we're here tonight to describe all about this brand new show, Tracking the Thrills. Now, what we're going to try to accomplish with this is to actually rate parks with their roller coasters. So each time that either Danny or I go to a park, we're going to take some film, shoot some video, and we're going to try to break it down and describe to you guys what makes each and every roller coaster at that park either good or bad. And we're going to use a 5-star ranking system in order to do this. Now, Danny, we're here tonight to describe to you, all of our watchers out there what each of these 5 stars means, because we don't want to have to describe it on each time that we rate a show or rate a park.
Right.
We don't want to have to describe what's going on. So we're going to describe to you what these 5 stars mean, and so that you can come back and reference this episode each time you watch. So, Danny, why don't you start us off by explaining to us the 5 stars?
Yeah, so we're going to use this 5-star ranking system, and this is a system that, other websites and apps have used before, right? The 1 to 5 stars to rank a roller coaster. But we're going to put some definition behind those stars, because everyone's done like, I give it 3 out of 5 stars or whatever, but there's never been a lot of definition by that. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually tell you what each of the 5 stars is going to mean. So a 1 out of 5 stars would be, this is just your regular old roller coaster credit. You'd ride it once to, put it on your list and say you've ridden it, and you'll probably never ride it again. This is probably going to be like a lot of your kiddie coasters and whatnot, especially the ones that you might need a kid to ride, the ones that are very, very difficult to ride, kind of along those lines. Number 2 is what we're going to call like low-end coasters or below-average coasters. These are rides that you would probably only ride again. After you would ride it once, and then you would probably only ride it again if there's a very minimal wait. We're probably thinking along the lines of maybe if you go back to a park you haven't been to in a long time, and there's a boomerang and there's no line for the boomerang. You might hop on it just to ride it because you're there, but you're not going to wait an overly excessive amount of time for a ride like that, right? So then we'll go to the 3 stars. These are what we're calling average roller coasters, because 3 out of 5 by definition is the average. So this would be a coaster that does not stick out in a good way and does not stick out in a bad way. It's just kind of there. And I'm struggling to think of one that maybe I would, call a 3 out of 5. I know, Andy, you have an idea of what you would call, maybe a 3 out of 5. But for this, these are maybe like your arrow loopers for me. Maybe like a vortex at a Kings Island, or a standard arrow corkscrew. It's not really, really bad, but it's not really great either. It's like, okay, that was good, and let's move on type of ride.
Yeah, where you have it has a lot of good aspects to it. But there's quite a few noticeable flaws within it, and things that we're going to be looking at are speed, height, inversions, just airtime, forces, all these great things,
things like that.
Absolutely, all of this is going to play into it. Where each ride will discuss in detail why we gave it one of these star levels.
That's right. So then when we move up to the 4 out of 5, that by definition is an above average roller coaster, right? And these are things, you and I kind of had a tough time putting an actual definition by this, but we're going to call these rides that have a lot of good qualities but have a few minor flaws. And I would say maybe rides that come to mind immediately for me might be like a Tennessee Tornado, or maybe like a Steel Force. I think those are maybe the rides that would go in this category, because Tennessee Tornado, awesome roller coaster, right? A lot of good forces, good speed. It's smooth. It's really, really short. So, it's got, at least, 1 or 2 little shortcomings that maybe keep it from getting all the way to that. Tennessee Tornado for me, I would say, is maybe like a strong 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when you look at it, that shortcoming that you talk about, is there. But you still look forward to riding that ride every single time you go to the park, where these above-average rides are things that you're going to queue up for, you're going to ride, even though you don't think it's at the very top tier, the 5 stars, it's still a solid 4 where you look forward to riding this every single time you go to the park, where your day's not really complete if you haven't ridden that ride?
Well, and it's probably a ride that you're going to re-ride at some point, too. If you're there for a full day, it's probably one that you'll ride more than once. All right, so that takes us to the 5 out of 5, right? And this is the cream of the crop. These are what we're calling world-class coasters. These are superior coasters that have several excellent attributes. These are the rides that, you'll ride over and over and over again. These are the rides you want to marathon. These are your Fury 325s. These are your Millennium Forces. These are your Sky Rushes. These are your Voyages. These are, your lightning rods. These are the coasters that it's very, very difficult to find anything wrong with the ride experience. And, I think you and I were kind of discussing, and if we were looking at our steel coaster lists to do this, and you and I were kind of in agreement that for you and I, me having been on over 500 coasters, you're real close, you're at over 450 now. Yeah. For people like us who have been on, for 400 plus steel coasters, you're looking at, for us, we're talking maybe our top 20 to 25. It's a very, very elite group that gets lumped into this 5-star category, I think. Yeah, we're not going to hand these out, like flyers. We're not going to hand these 5-star ratings out.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to the 5-star, that this is going to be an elite group of coasters, like you said. That I think a lot of people on a lot of different places on personal rankings on websites. A lot of people hand out the 5-star like it's candy at a carnival, and that's not going to be this at all. That we're going to reserve the 5-star designation for those elite coasters. So when you actually see us rank something as 5-star, that this is the top of the top, that this is the cream of the crop, that this is the best of the best, that we're not gonna just water it down so that every park gets its own 5-star, or whatever the best roller coaster in the park is gets 5 stars. It's not gonna be like that. That 5-star is actually going to really mean something, as we go through and track these rides. We'll get you. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We're going to get you back right into the Tracking the Thrills. We're going to be coming out with different episodes of this every time we go to a new park. We're going to try and produce one of these episodes to give you our opinions and our rankings of all the roller coasters there. So we hope to see you there, and we look forward to hearing your comments on what you think about what our rankings are and how we rank the rides, because it is going to be
the agreements, the disagreements, the debates. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good debates that come out of these this series here. And like you said, you and I are probably going to do these separate from one another. We're going to maybe have the same set of pictures and videos, but you and I are actually going to probably do most of these separately. So you'll get Andy's take on a ride, and then you'll get my take on a ride. And I think in a lot of cases, people who have watched us for a long time know that you and I are going to have differing opinions on a lot of rides and a lot of parks. Yeah. And, we've made that very well known over the years here. So, there's going to be certainly a lot of discussion to be had.
Yeah, for sure. And then at the end of each episode, we are going to count up all the stars and figure out and give that park a ranking at the end of it as well. To show how good of a park that is and how you should probably get there based on the number of stars it has. So as always, thank you for joining us here on Tracking the Thrills, and Ride On, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.